Well, praise the Lord. God bless everybody. I'd like to welcome you to Real Talk for Real Men. We're on WBIS Awesome Radio 106.9. We thank you for tuning in with us today. And we have Elder Nat Farrow with us to help perpetuate the conversation. Good morning, Elder. Can you hear me real good?
I hear you, but you sound like you I hear echo.
Okay. Well, let's make sure we ain't got nothing too high up here.
I got you.
Okay. You good?
I hear you twice.
Okay. How about now?
I still hear you twice.
All right. Well, let's get this going. You hear me now?
I can hear you, but I hear the echo. But it's, I guess y'all can work through that. Good morning, Pastor Lawson. How you doing?
I'm doing fine, sir. And God bless you. And thank you for being here with us today. And we'd like to address a very general topic today, dealing with life. I think it's important. A lot of times it takes time for people to realize how serious life is. So I'm sure that there are a lot of people right now as we speak that life all of a sudden has put them in a state of shock. The various things that have happened to them, things that they have encountered that they were just not prepared for. And this is probably true for younger people more than older people. But even some older people all of a sudden find themselves, shocked, with some of the things that they are going through. So let's address that this morning. Let's talk about dealing with life, life struggles, the seriousness of life. What do you think some of the keys in being successful at dealing with life?
That's an interesting. That was an interesting setup there.
Yeah.
I just think it's pretty basic. You're born, and your parents help you, or whoever you are being raised by, help you to understand what life is and how to deal with it. I just was, looking for a way to put it. But they're the ones that teach you how to deal with life. And, as you grow, you learn from a young age. I was thinking about something yesterday. My mother's siblings. My mother was the second oldest of 9. So her 3 siblings, the ones that were the youngest, I knew them. You know what I'm saying? When I was down here and going to school, they were still home, and towards the end of their high school, but they were still here. And I was thinking about one of my aunts that she's really successful now, but she they kids are mischievous. And I remember being in the house one morning, my grandmother and the 3 girls, and they were getting the ironing board ready, to iron some clothes. And my aunt told me, she said, and she was the knee baby, the 1 second to the baby. And she said, put your hand on this iron, see if it's hot.
Oh my.
And I did. I'm 5 years old. You know what I'm saying?
I don't like where this is going.
And I did it. And boy, it burned me out. And my grandmother did her favorite grandma thing. She said, "Y'all oughtn't do that." But they were laughing, and I know she probably wanted to laugh too. But my head was burnt. But I learned, don't touch the iron. So I use that story to just kind of put a little humor in the thing to say we learn to do things or not to do things. Sometimes it's not maybe not be that that way, but it was a lesson that I knew not to do. And so just like with life, we're taught things. Um, we're taught things as a young person to do and not to do. And they say that your first 5 years, you're most impressionable. You know what I'm saying? So it was it's I think as we grow and we learn and we go to school and so life comes and there will be unexpected things. That's one of the I say good things about it, because from those things and the mistakes we make, it helps us if we learn from them. Now, some
Yes.
folks don't learn from them and they keep making them. And I've always said that you're going to keep making them until you get it right. I guess that's something you learn in school, too. You keep taking the test until you get it right. But, that's just a thought.
Yeah, life happens. And I think you make a good point. You know, our parents prepare us, our parents, our village, our community, they all work together to prepare us to deal with life. And a lot of times, how successful we are at dealing with life depends on our upbringing, our background, where we come from, that kind of thing. And it's interesting that, I used to think about this a lot. We didn't get to pick and choose who our parents would be, what kind of household we would be born into, what nation we would be. You don't get to, it's like pot luck. The dice were cast and there you are. you know, you're either with parents that would tell you to touch the iron when it's hot, or you or you with parents that have a more sophisticated way of helping you learn how to maneuver and navigate your way through life. But
You know
I
what I
thought that
just
was an
figured out?
interesting story.
I figured out something. I think I'm gonna go find me a rich family and tell her I'm transparenting now.
Transparenting.
Yeah,
That's not a thing.
I'm trying to be transparent.
I used to think about that when I was a kid because we were so poor and things were so bad, and I would go through the neighborhoods where there was the nice big picture windows and the brick homes, and
Mm.
and I used to wonder, could I knock on that door and say, "Can I be y'all child?
I see it now.
I'm leaving my parents. Can I be your child for a
A
while?"
little taste of money.
But it doesn't work like that. You don't get to
How,
pick and
how,
choose.
how is the allowances around this joint?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How much do I get a week?
Well, I'm Pastor Trey Forbes. I'm coming in from Kingdom of Heaven Ministries. I figured I'd just, while y'all were playing, swinging the ropes, I'd do a little double dutch while y'all were doing it. But it's so true. There's so many things in life we got to deal with, cope with. And sometimes, and this is something I was talking to a friend of mine today. We are talking about dealing with life. I mean, this was early in the morning. I told him, well, brother, you need to take a break. It just, between some men and you don't hear it, you work, here's a man that's working more than one job. He's actually probably working 2 or 3 jobs. And as it goes, sometimes we're not appreciated. And, and that which becomes evident on certain days like Father's Day, which should be called not Mother's Day. You know what I'm And so a lot of times, and I have a good friend, he told me, and it was something else. His son was a teenager. And he was like, I don't get the respect I should get around the house. I don't get this. Y'all don't appreciate me, da 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 da. And his son said, Dad, why you always want somebody to praise you? Then he said, you just doing what you're supposed to do. And I thought that was really good of him not taking a swing on his son, but a lot of times men that do what they're supposed to do don't get applauded for doing what they're supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? Yes, we know we're supposed to do it, but can we get a thank you? I do believe that even in church, if you're a pastor, you should tell people thank you sometime. Just thank you. I see you over there. You doing audio. Thank you. Ushers. Thank you. Just even though people doing what they're supposed to do in your unit, and you can't always take a time to say thank you. Maybe even this is just over the pulpit. Just telling people, I thank you. I recognize what you do, and it's needful and it's helpful. Now, when people do that, sometimes we got to recognize, and I know I'm talking, I took it over into a pastoral thing. Whenever somebody's telling you thank you, they might tell some specific people just a few days thank you, and they can't go through the whole church giving flowers. Do recognize the pastor did say thank you before. So don't make it an issue. He thanked so-and-so. He said that spent all that time thanking him. Your turn coming. Just wait. But in life, a lot of times we're not appreciated. And so one of the ways that I learned to appreciate my own self is to take a break. Just take a natural break. And I say this, I think that this is just Tremaine Forbes' formula. So you ain't going to find this anywhere. I think that if you are married and you have children, I think it's good to be able to take a break, which we call a vacation, once a year with your family. And then I think there also need to be one that your spouse take. And if you can help it, I think sometimes our church used to have men's retreat. So then there's times where you might need to be able to take a vacation. It might be just a daycation, but just take some time for yourself. Oftentimes, if your money isn't right, and mine has been short more years than I would want to admit, than it have been long, being able to go from situation to situation, sometimes just being able to take a small break. And I'm gonna tell you what that sounds like. I was working years ago at this particular facility. The guy was a school teacher there, and he told me, he said, Forbes, he said, you're married, you about to have your child. Let me tell you something. He said, you need to take a break. Now, he seemed to be a very selfish person at the time, so I really didn't get what he was saying, because I just thought he was a selfish person. He was like, a lot of times before I go home, I go and I stop at Hardee's. He said, I get myself a Frisco burger, a fry, and a drink. He said, I just sit there and read the newspaper before I go home. Now, I didn't think about the man got 4 children. So that might have been some wisdom in that. But I didn't really see it. But we got to take natural breaks. How have y'all gentlemen had the different times in the hustle and bustle? Because I know y'all more on the retirement spectrum in some areas. But sometimes you do things. What do y'all do to give yourself a break or make an allowance for yourself?
When I was younger and I had kids, I did, the traditional thing. I would, pack the family up sometimes and take them somewhere. And like, for instance, when I, went to Orlando, I went the first day. We were there 4 days, actually 5 days. The first day I went and walked around with them all day. The rest of the week I dropped them off, went back to the cottage, and just relaxed until they called for me to pick them up.
Sounds smart.
I did that for 3 days,
Okay.
and then that Friday we went to what's that
Disney?
No, that religious thing that they put down there.
I should have known a pastor.
Yeah,
you're gonna take them to that Jerusalem experience.
Yeah,
I can't remember what it is, but it's
it
pretty much the Holy Land.
The Holy Land. Yeah,
okay.
I walked around the Holy Land with them, but for 3 days, I had the cottage all to myself, except for the evenings. Now I don't do the traditional thing. Now vacation is a part of my regular lifestyle.
Yeah, right.
I'm on the couch as much as I possibly.
Hey, praise the Lord.
All the time that I can squeeze out. If my wife is hanging around too much, I give her about $5 and let her go shopping. And I
know that's a gross understatement, but go ahead.
And my children are all gone. They moved out. So now vacation is just intertwined into my regular life. So
good morning, Apostle Harris. But yeah, we got to take breaks. How have you had to take breaks or do different things to relieve stress, Elder?
Oh, well, I mean, when I was younger, I would do that too. I would take off and go somewhere. I remember one time I took off and went to the West Coast to visit my aunt, for 2 weeks.
Wow.
From you got to take breaks,
Yeah.
and like you said it right. You take small breaks, you can take longer breaks, but you got to take a break. That's why when you one thing I learned from working is that I came to understand what God did when He created the earth, and He rested on the seventh day. I've tried working 7 days a week.
I have too.
That doesn't work. That just it wears you down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I understand that day is important. So the break is important. I think that's what I learned from that. Where I used to work all the time, and that seventh day I was still working, and it all comes in together, and it's not good for your mind. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I understand that principle that God, put in place, that you need to at least take that day off. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Let's pivot to another piece. Let's talk about addressing issues head on. Oftentimes we have to break our problems up into small steps to make them less overwhelming. I've had to do that. Matter of fact, my wife was just telling me some stuff this morning, and I'm gonna be quite honest with you. I said, baby, not right. Number one, I was listening to them talk about on the news about the forgiving some student loans. So that piqued my interest in. I have college age children. That was number one. Number two, I was sitting around and I was thinking to myself, what she was saying was causing me anxiety. I recognize a lot of times we don't recognize anxiety when it come on. And I said, baby, not right now. Because I was just, the more she was piling on, I said, good God. I said, baby. And I had to just say, most of the time I don't tell her, a lot of times we don't voice it. I said, baby, this is getting stressful. I said, just hold on. I can't right now. I need a break from hearing this. But sometimes we have to break things up, problems that we got going on. It's not that you pretend that they don't exist. But sometimes it's best to face them head on. I said, I tell you what, I'm gonna deal with that. I said, so you don't worry about it. I already figured out how I'm gonna deal with it, and it's gonna be strong when I do. And I said, so I can handle that in just a few minutes. I'm not gonna discuss certain things. I'm just gonna go ahead on and say this is how it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you saying you had to put your foot down? Is that what you're talking about?
It won't with her, but she was just telling me some stuff was going on, and I said, you know what? That ain't. Don't you worry your little head on that one, because I got that. But no, it ain't gonna be that way, and this is how it's going. And
Pastor,
yes.
You're on the radio, right?
I do. Absolutely.
All right, I'll just passing that on. Okay.
I appreciate you. Sometimes the things in life, with me, I got to being an extrovert. I'm careful managing that. I ain't tell you what I won't gonna put up with. I just said I ain't putting up with something.
Okay.
And if something she didn't want to put up with, I'm gonna take it out and I ain't got to worry about it.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
But we have to. Sometimes we got to manage life until we can master it. There's a lot of things I've had to manage because I was
like
looking
that.
for the
That's
mastery.
nice.
So, and look, watch this. David, when he fought Goliath, he got him 5 smooth stones, put it in a slingshot, and he took and popped homeboy in the head and stuck his foot on top of him. He managed him. He got him under his foot. He got him subdued. And then he took the Goliath's sword and he had dominion. He cut that head off. And so sometimes in life, there's a lot going on, a lot of issues, a lot of dilemmas. We got to learn how to wrestle certain things down. Sometimes you got to break things down into small compartments, compartmentalize some things, and master it. Manage it until you can master it. If you got issues with how sometimes brothers, you got issues looking at women. Well, you're gonna have to just learn how to keep your head straight until you can master it. But on that note, we're on real talk for real men on 106.9. We'll be back after the sponsorship break.
Violation of your religious rights based on perceived risk is wrong. Listen to what the Supreme Court had to say.
Here's a story worth hearing from attorney David Gibbs Jr. of the Christian Law Association.
Here's some really good news. The United States Supreme Court recently held that the free exercise and free speech clauses of the First Amendment protect an individual engaged in a personal religious observance from government reprisal. In the case of Kennedy versus Bremerton School District, Coach Kennedy was fired by the school after he knelt at midfield after the football game to offer a quiet personal prayer. Mr. Kennedy sued in federal court alleging his free exercise and free speech rights were violated. The district court found that the sole reason for the school's decision to fire Coach Kennedy was its perceived risk of constitutional liability. And this ruling provides a great reminder that perceived risk in America is not a basis for taking away someone's religious liberty. What a great case for America.
Our free newsletter addresses lots of issues like the ones we've been discussing today. Why not sign up for it now at christianlaw.org. christianlaw.org.
Hi, I'm Travorce Newton. I listen to Awesome Radio 106.9 FM, WBIS.
Surely in the family, God is with me. Surely in the family, God is with me. Surely in the family, God is with me.
And just like that, we're back. You're listening to WBIS LP 106.9 Awesome Radio on your radio dial. You're listening to Real Talk for Real Men with Pastor Tremaine Forbes, Pastor Dan Lawson, and Elder Nat Farrow. But you know, sometimes we have to deal with life. My dad used to say you got to deal with life on life terms. But I'm gonna be quite honest with you. I believe that God kind of helps us deal with life. And I ain't gonna deal with it on its terms. I'm dealing with it on God's terms. We ain't gonna play ball in your court. We're playing it in God's court, and it's so much a bigger court. But sometimes we're dealing with our problems, whether it's having a hard conversation or changing a problematic behavior, will serve you much better in the long run than making your problems bigger by ignoring them. You know, sometimes people ignore something. You sitting there watching the elephant in the room when it's a little elephant become bigger and bigger and bigger. Or better yet, you got a little lion in the room and you rubbing it and you playing with it, acting like it ain't what it is until that booger grow up and you start thinking, you ain't feeding me enough meat. I might have to get some of what you got. And so I was talking to a person last night that was talking about they're in college. They had a whole lot of anxiety. And so then what I told them, look, every day, do a little bit of your work at a time. A little bit at a time. Build up your tolerance to the feelings brought up by working on your problems, by addressing your problems gradually. Sometimes there's certain things going on. You might have a whole bunch of things going on. But you think through a solution and then give an answer. Think through, give an answer. Think through, give an answer. You don't want to be the type of person. A certain president is coming to mind, or ex-president, that it was just like I'm flying off the cuff every moment, and you didn't think through everything. But you want to do that. You want to do that. But go ahead, gentlemen. I had to fly in because I saw how much time we were losing on the clock, so I kind of took over that last segment. But go ahead.
I want to. Thank you for that advice on, taking problems and breaking them up in pieces and attacking one piece at a time, compartmentalizing it, and you find it easier to deal with one compartment of your problem rather than trying to take on the whole problem. And there may be some situations where you could argue that, hey, that don't work all the time. But I think as a principle, I think that's a good principle. People with, for instance, people with financial difficulties, they can compartmentalize their financial problem by, first of all, looking at their spending habits, that can be one compartment that they can work on, focus on, and try to do something about that, bring some change. They can look. Another compartment could be, their revenue streams, their income. Maybe you need a second job, maybe you need a better job, maybe you need some side hustles or something. That's a compartment that you can look at, deal with, and maybe bring some practical resolutions to that. And then the other could be your credit score. Sometimes people take away a lot of their options and alternatives because they have such a bad credit score. And maybe you can look at your credit score. That's a piece of your problem that you could work on. So I like that idea. I like that principle. I think people should try and apply that, to some of their problems, not just in finances, but any problems that they're dealing with. Try to break it down in little pieces and take on one piece at a time.
That's so true. And I want to throw something in there on that. Oops, I'm trying to share. But anyway, one thing that I want to add to that, I noticed that you were talking about with your finances. Some financial consultants would say, I'm saying I'm not a financial consultant, would say, when you got credit card debt, put a lot of energy in trying to conquer at least one of those cards, especially the smallest one. Get rid of that debt, put the energy that you had put into that small debt, put it into the next biggest. The next, one that was bigger than that one. And conquer each one at a time so that you don't have a running situation. Once you do that, pay off some debt and start saving. And so that's one of the ways you can do that. One thing that I've done, once I got to a place where I hate car payments, and that haven't always been for the family psyche, because ain't nothing as exciting as a new ride. And so I would pay my cars off and fix them. And then now I found myself in a place where I'm almost without any debt, literally, because I would take and pay off debts, manage debts. Because you think about it, most of us all our lives, if you got a $300 car payment every single day of your adult life, because people do that, you get to a place where you won't have money. When you look at overall how your life is going, you won't have money for different things. And I don't have a car payment. Every car, the last 3 cars I have, I've had enough money to walk in, and wherever I got my cars from, I've just bought them. Just completely bought them. And so don't nobody ask me for some money, because I know how that works.
Give me that car payment money.
Yeah, but just being able to, and that came from a principle of learning how to manage things until I could master. Elder, I'm sorry, I know I took a
manage till you master.
Yeah, Elder.
No, that's okay. The thought that came to my mind, I had one of my uncles used to always say, yard by yard is hard, inch by inch is a cinch. I know it wasn't original to him, but I just always I always remember him saying it. So yeah.
What did he say?
Yeah. I'm gonna have to
yard by yard it's hard, inch by inch it's a cinch.
Elder, if you hear this Sunday, you pretend like you just heard it. That was my revelation.
Yeah, so it's small bits. Yeah, it's easier. I think that's true when you make your goals. You don't start with the great big thing. You start with the small things.
Well, that's what made Tom Brady so popular and famous
God, why
and
you
successful.
Talk about some Tom Brady?
Because
that's up a radio program talking about some Tom Brady.
He's that quarterback that was never great about the downfield stuff.
Yeah.
He can throw downfield, but he has that philosophy.
Yeah.
If I can keep getting first downs,
that next inch.
I don't care how long it takes me to get a touchdown. As long as I can keep getting first downs, I'll accept that.
They do accumulate, don't they?
Yeah, and that's always been his way. Where there have been many quarterbacks that they like the downfield stuff.
And I believe all of us was taught about the tortoise and the hare.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely. Yeah.
So they weren't new to my generation. Okay.
So you calling Tom Brady a turtle? Okay.
No. He used the wisdom of the turtle.
Okay.
The tortoise.
I'm okay with that.
Because you think about it, the hare would sprint, and when he went somewhere and went to sleep. But while he was sleeping, the tortoise kept moving.
Okay.
And after a certain time, the tortoise overtook the hare.
Yeah.
And so some of us get to looking at other people things that they're doing, and you look at how they're sprinting. And here you are just going, and this is encouragement even to myself. You just going and going, look like my God, this is just, and surely enough, you keep going, you're going to see progress.
Yeah.
I picked up, my wife sent me to the store to get her a planner this morning. And one of the planners, I hope I can remember, because I don't remember right at this moment, but one of the planners had something on the front of it that was just phenomenal. Come on, memory kick in, memory kick in, activate. But one of the planners just had planner on it. Another planner had something big on it. But there was another planner that had something real awesome. I'll bring that back when I recall it. But it just had something about, it was something to the effect of, I'm about to make my life better. And I said, ain't that something? Or something, that's what something good is about to happen. And I said, that is true.
Every time you open it up,
when you make a plan, you ought to expect something good to come out of it, because in a plan, you're refining things that you're not, that you ain't gonna say you ain't gonna anticipate, but you're refining things that's not essential to the things that are essential. And if we could day by day do things that are essential, you're gonna make something great. Yeah. And Elder, I'm sorry, I did this one again. And we're about to go on sponsorship break. About to get in trouble on that one. But we got to get to a place where we do those things that are essential. That's how you really manage life, because everything else is going to come along. But doing those things that are essential, like Elder said, that yard by yard is hard, but inch by inch is a cinch. On that note, we're going to sponsorship break. We'll talk to you after this break. 106.9.
Time and season is. Out of school for many years? No problem. Are you not good with technology? Not a problem. Don't allow your age to restrict you from your goal. We have students of all ages. We're a college that will work with you. That's our motto. We will work with you, but we expect you to do the work. So what are you waiting for? Contact us today. 252-446-0842. That's 252-446-0842. Or visit our website, www.kemibc.com. KEMIBC.com. 252-446-0842.
This is Awesome Radio 106.9.
Surely in the family, God is with me. Surely in the family, God is with me. Surely in the family, God is with me.
And we're back on 106.9. Listen to Real Talk for Real Men on WBIS, Awesome Radio. And Pastor Lawson is off on special assignment. I always want to do that number. So, but we're just talking about dealing with life. Dealing with life, Elder. What are some things that's on your mind?
Well, I'm not really sure of the question that you're asking me.
How do we deal with life? This is the subject of the show.
How we deal with it, I think we just live it, and as believers, we trust God, that's you hear David say this all the time. You hear when you read the Psalms, it's about trusting God. We got to just go ahead and live and trust him. You know what I'm saying? Dwell in the land. As he says in Psalms 37, dwell in the land
and do good.
And feed on his faithfulness.
Yeah.
So I think that's what we got to do. I sometimes I think we can overcomplicate things. by getting into ourselves and trying to figure out and looking at everything that's around us. You know, it's fascinating. I know we're not so much talking about it. You touched on it earlier because, you know, as a college man, you dealt with, I don't know how you dealt with it, but the student loan thing, you know, it's fascinating to hear rich people seem to always complain when regular people get something. You know, when the only people I hear complaining about this are rich people. You know, to me,
I don't know. Elder, no. You got people in their politics. Because I know some folk ain't rich.
I'm saying in the political realm, they're usually rich politicians. It's not the poor politicians, it's the rich politicians that are making all the noise about that are against it. I understand that the progressives want it more. I get all that. But I'm saying the ones that are complaining about it are wealthy politicians.
But you know what? I know people right now. I was looking on my Facebook page last night, and everybody talking about, well, somebody's got to pay for it, and yada, 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 and all this other stuff. And I'm thinking, y'all would rather spend billions of dollars in something destructive. Like, for instance, we have a war, and us giving, I'm not saying us giving funding to any war that we got going on. We're not in the war per se. But with Ukraine and Russia, you got this situation going on, and you got people that rather give the money. And I ain't saying like don't give the money. I'm talking about just if I had to do one on this end, one on the other. You would rather do something that's kind of in that realm, money for war, than you would to alleviate your own citizens and alleviate. And when this money, now you always, I mean, I ain't talking about when I say you, y'all get what I'm saying. People that would sit around and say that this money, you know, that we're paying too much taxes. Well, there you go. This is more money that people ain't got to pay taxes for. Because I'm gonna have more money to spend. That's gonna help the economy. And the average person that pay back student loan debt, that's somewhere between $300 to $600 a month. That this person probably, a lot of people pay for years and years and years. Got to get forbearances and different things. This is beautiful, in my opinion, from what I see. Go ahead, Oda.
Well, one of the complaints that I hear is this fairness issue,
right?
Which is ridiculous to me because you had it hard and you had to do it. You don't want somebody else to have a break. I don't understand that, you know. And then I have seen a lot of people that said, yeah, I had it hard. I had to work 2 jobs to pay off my loan, but I'm glad that somebody else is getting a break. And I think that's the attitude that you should have. I think a lot of this stuff is made up. You know, a lot of the complaints are made up, even on the fairness issue. There may be a lot of people that do believe it, but I think a lot of it is made up.
And I've learned that a lot of people, they'll talk the politics and do something different. I literally had a guy who was ultra on the conservative spectrum. He talked that stuff. When I owned my company, he would come in and there's literally him and a person in management. One day they took about an hour and just argued politics. And I had to walk out and say, hey, look, gentlemen, let's get to work. That this ain't the place. And they would argue, go to lunch to argue politics. And what was amazing to me, this guy did all this arguing about what people shouldn't get and all these benefits. But he came up with an idea to go back to school. And part of that idea was, hey, can you just kind of let me get what you call it? When he like as if unemployment. He didn't want me to contest his unemployment. And I said, wait a minute, I thought that you didn't believe in people having benefits. He said, well, I paid into it. I said, but hold on. Now you act like you about to have a stroke arguing about people getting food stamps. He told me he was gonna apply for them. This brother, and he wasn't a brother per se, but this guy sat there and talking about he listened to Rush Limbaugh like a fanatic. Talking about Rush Limbaugh was like an uncle that he had that he never met. But he turned around, he got food stamps, he got the unemployment, he got all the benefits that you could get so that he could make him going back to school. Because I didn't contest it. He made it so. But I sat there and I looked at him. I said, ain't this something? You sat here and had a conniption about other folk being able to get stuff when they need it. And then because you could get it. So I'm thinking there's a lot of people that's sitting here doing this arguing and talking, but they're going to do it for their child the first chance they get. And nobody, to be clear, I didn't mean to take this pivot. Nobody gets more welfare than rich people. Absolutely.
There it is. And then the same people that complain, they don't complain when corporations get it.
Yeah.
When the farmers get it.
Yeah.
The big white farmers get it, and I said white. Yeah. That's what I said. Yeah. When they get it, because they won't give it to the black farmers, they contested that. Yeah. So it's but yet the struggling kid that's going to school, maybe there may be a little waste and somebody get it that should, but most of the people need a break. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? So and they know how to create. I understand that the system needs fixing too. Yeah. I'm not arguing against that, but there's nothing wrong with giving regular folk a break. And that's where I fall out with that.
We got politicians and we got people that own companies that never pay taxes. Never, and I don't blame them. I know that sound bad. If it's at your hand that you know how to do, then that's what you do. But don't get mad when the small man. How in the world people talking about the taxpayer? They ain't even trying to pay no taxes. They talking about the taxpayer. This ain't fair to the taxpayer. I was watching somebody put that up. One of our senators put that up. So I won't get to because I don't want to go against station policy. But one of our senators this morning was talking about all the people that struggle. I was one of those that struggled. Had to pay stuff back. And you ain't gonna never see me get mad. Because number one, some of these kids are gonna turn around and that's gonna make their credit good. Some of these kids, you think about how many, not just kids, some of these adults, think about how much credit is gonna improve by this being removed off the deal. So I'm gonna be honest, I'm quite excited for it. And it ain't what some of the more progressives want to pay, get free college. But I see that this is what you call, oh God, I wish I could remember the term. It's called a benefit that improves everybody. And since you're going to pull me into this little Black History moment, a lot of people got together and paid for W.E.B. Du Bois to go to school. Why? Because they saw that if he gets in a better place, once he got in a better place, then he will be a representative and proof that Black people can succeed. And then I was sitting back listening to some guys that are famous saying that President Obama didn't do nothing for Black people, which that's a big erroneous concept. When you look at just him being a Black president, if he didn't do nothing else, was significant. Just being a Black one, that, oh yeah, a Black man can do this. And his wife could handle herself the way he did, and his kids could do like what they do. And that, no, this isn't beyond our scope. And I'm not going to take up a lot of time on that. But a lot of times, we just don't really get a good clue in on what and where it is. This is an important measure. Go ahead, Elder. What are you going to say?
Yeah, I was just going to drop this in there. The Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Mm-hmm. Yes. I don't know if you ever saw that clip. I didn't see the speech, but I saw the clip of him talking about how they gave the land to those farmers out west. They gave them a land grant.
Yeah.
Then they gave them money to work the land. Then they taught them how to work the land. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And so, you know, we worry about, and you know, at the end of it, he says, and I'm coming to Washington, we want our check. You know,
Yeah.
See, they always want to play the clip of him. I have a dream, but they don't want to play the clips where because he preached a lot about this social justice thing.
Right.
But the whole issue is, when we look at it, we got senators right now, wealthy senators, talking about cutting Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid. So it's kind of like things for the people. That's what gets me. I don't, you know, we got this little rub that we go, but I'm not going to get deep into that. But every time people that need things get something, here these guys come, you know, with their objections, and it's like and when they're in power, they don't do anything. And when somebody's in power that's doing something, they complain. So I'm going to stay out of it now. I'm going to be the politics.
We did miss our that part.
But it needs to be said sometimes.
And let's talk about letting go of stress that ain't your own. Some of us, our problem is we take on other people's burdens. And sometimes we take on stress that we do not need to take on. It is important to let go of stress about things that we cannot control or that is not our own. Letting go of things that we cannot control is usually easier said than done. It will take some focus and work on your part just to identify the things you can't do anything about. Trying to write down all the things that stress you out or make you anxious. This will allow you to better survey your issues. While it is important to care about others in your life, taking on other people's stresses does not actually help you or the person. So if you're going to take on the stress of, well, here I see that you're stressing because you don't have gas money, and I have $20 that I can either loan you or let you have. That's alleviating stress. That's something. I had a person that just when we were in college, they were a good friend, and we kind of lost communication. We on Facebook together, but their spouse had recently died. Now, there ain't nothing I could do to ever bring their spouse back. They have children. There's nothing there's very little comfort I really can provide. But what I did do, I gave them a little something, little money. And that's to help alleviate some stress. I can't do everything, but I can do something. I noticed there was a lady in my neighborhood, something was going on where she had to she was having issues with transportation. When her children, something happened with the transportation. So what did I do? I made myself available for a few days. I couldn't do all the days to take her to work because we can do something, but there's certain things we just can't do nothing about other than we have to just kind of move on. What do you think?
Oh, I agree with you. I totally agree with you. It even comes down to, sometimes all you can do is pray. Sometimes you can't actually get in, and it's not for you all the time. Right. And I think we got to learn that we can't fix everything. Even in our private lives, there's situations that we have with people that we're personally involved with that we can't fix. Some things you can't fix.
Can I mention something? I heard this wise man preach one time. You might know him. His name is Farrow. He said sometimes when all you can do is pray, it's the most important thing to do. Yeah, sometimes we say, well, all I can do is pray. Well, sometimes your prayer is the best thing to do, because it should be what we do before we proceed to do anything. Is pray.
And I think God reveals things sometimes to us for us to pray.
That's true.
It's not always for us to jump in and get involved. And I've been in situations like that. And once I got in and jumped in, I found out I didn't need to be there because I was doing more harm than good.
Yeah. Look, that sounds like a situation we hear about it all the time, where a man might see another man and his wife fighting, or a relative might see, ain't gonna say a man, might see somebody and their spouse fighting, and then you jump into it, and the person get mad at you, and them and their spouse going about their business. Now, I ain't talking about physical fight, but I'm just talking about that argument, getting into it, and you done said your 3 piece, and then next thing you know, you wonder how did you get blamed for all the stuff they done. And so
that's true. That's true. And that's why a lot of there's I don't want to say I understand there's good and bad, but there are good police officers too.
Yes,
but
they are.
Most of the ones that they don't like domestic. They don't like to go to domestic calls. When it's the husband and wife fighting, because then right. I've heard them where they say, now they step in, now both of them they stop fighting each other and turn on them.
Yeah, that's true. It's happened. It has happened. I've seen people that have done that. I've worked in law enforcement to a capacity, and I know that is a very true thing, Elder. That is so true. Then sometimes we got about 2 minutes left. You got to find things that make you happy, things that motivate your life, whether it's a hobby or activity. If you like to, you used to like to fish, sometimes you might need to go fishing. If you maybe there's some time you can donate an hour to help somebody, whether it's donations or helping someone out, maybe pouring some soup, or just giving a family that might be struggling in a moment, a can of soup, a can of something, or some food. Those things do help life get better. Sometimes it's finding moments of joy and beauty. Just going out to the beach. One time me and my wife, we were younger and we hardly had any money. And we just came up, I don't know who came up with the idea first. I think it might have, we got the coloring books and we said we're going to do art therapy. And all we did is got a little crayon, coloring book, and just sat in the house and colored some coloring books. And that just was just fine for that moment. Elder, what you have to say?
No, I think it's true. And I think you have to, that's how you gotta work within what you have. Be content where you are. I was gonna bring that up, and Pastor Lawson talked about that last night. I was listening a little bit. Being content where you are, and then trusting God to take you further.
That is so true. I love what you said. Being content where you are.
Paul talks about that.
Yeah. Godliness and contentment is a great gain. Great gain. And so on that note, we hope that this show has been a blessing to you. And you can be a sponsor of this show or any show with just calling our station manager at 252-756-3137. That's 252-756-3137. And you've been listening to Real Talk for Real Men on 106.9 FM. You can come back next Thursday at 10 a.m. and we'll be a blessing to you. God bless.
You with me.